And we are
And I ran
back.
second.
And we're back, and this little segment is going to be about Dad's relationship with racehorses, which Mum did not like, but Dad absolutely loved and still does. So, what was the name of what horse did you buy first? What was your first racehorse that you ever bought?
The first racehorse, I was in a partnership. To go to money, I can't remember now. And my brother-in-law was in it. That was Tim Barrett. He was in it.
Oh my gosh!
And it was a horse. It was no good. Used to run last in every start.
Okay.
But there was a group of us one day. Were down at the Sheep having drinks and just. I think we were at the Oaks. I don't think we went to the Sheep. I think we were at the Oaks. And anyhow, the group of us, the Abood family, you know, they were famous in drapery stores and things like that. Mick Abood, and we decided to buy a racehorse. I don't know how we came to buy a racehorse.
Oh my God! Did you have any interest in horses before that?
I was always interested because Val had married Tommy.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so let's start there. So Val was your
Aunt.
She was the sister of your mother.
A mother, yeah.
And she married
Tommy Smith.
Tommy Smith. Now Tommy Smith was a young horse trainer.
Yes.
And he became one of Australia's top horse trainers ever.
Yeah. He won more premierships until Waller.
Until what?
Till present bloke champion.
Oh,
trainer.
wow. So Tommy Smith,
He won 36 premierships in a row.
So you did have a relationship with horse racing through because there was only 3 sisters, right? Oh, she had quite a few. But anyway, Tommy Smith was a very well-known and
he met
well-respected horse trainer. Yeah.
He met her at the Wagga Cup.
Oh,
Morris
okay.
Wallington, his future brother-in-law, came across, and my grandmother and my 2 aunts were at the Wagga Cup, and Morris, who was a drunk, and he was drunk when he came over, and my grandmother more or less, was a bit annoyed with him, and anyhow...
But he introduced Tommy to Val, and they had a lovely long marriage.
Yes.
And then one daughter, Gay Smith, who became Gay Waterhouse and also a top horse trainer. So that's how your interest, you knew about racehorses.
I knew about racehorses,
And horse racing. I always get those words mixed. Okay, and so that was your first horse you bought, and from there you just went on and just started buying horse after horse after horse?
At one stage I had 53 horses, racehorses.
Or at one time?
At one time.
Okay.
Yeah. And I won, in one weekend, I won a race in Melbourne, the main track in Melbourne, in Sydney, and in Brisbane. In one day, I won
Wow. And I know you had 2 horses that you've run in
the
2 Melbourne Cups.
Yeah, 2 horses.
Started first, came in last.
Both of them, they led all the way to halfway down the straight, and they both ran last. And your mother turned around and she said, I don't come to the races to watch horses run last. I said, you've got to qualify for this race.
Yeah. So what was your most successful horse?
The most successful horse was Martin. No, it was Myacard.
Myacard.
Which won everything before it.
And in the year of around 1980...
Yeah, beat Bone Crusher, beat all the famous horses. Our Waverley Star, beat all those famous horses.
Yeah, so that was a champion horse, and people in the racing industry know. If you say Myacard, they know Myacard. Yeah. But there was one race in particular that has a bit of a history. I mean, a bit of a story to it with Myacard. And okay.
Yeah, well, the thing is that it raced in a race, and Kerry Packer.
And Kerry Packer is like a
James Packer,
owner of Australian newspapers, so a very wealthy man who liked horses too. Yes.
And he backed Myacard for $5 million.
Okay, so he put a bet on for $5 million. I'm explaining this to people who may not, kids, men. And how did he
with
bet.
Bruce McHugh.
Bruce McHugh. Did you know Bruce McHugh before
No,
that?
I didn't even bet with him.
Okay, so he was something called an.
No, he started. He's
was
the biggest bookie
He's a
on the
bookie, which means that
bookmaker.
which means that people come bet their money with this one person, and he pays them out, and if either he or they win, so it's kind of a gamble.
Yeah,
And they're legal. They're at the race courses.
yeah.
So Dad did not know Bruce before this race, and then Kerry Packer came and made a $5 million bet, which is back in those days was enormous. And so what happened then?
And then Kerry Packer had another horse in the race.
He was betting against his own horse.
And his own horse came and knocked it off.
And his own horse won.
So he lost $5 million.
How much did he win on his own horse though? Not
Didn't have a bet on it.
And that's how Bruce. Did he continue as a bookie after that?
No, that next on the Monday he gave bookmaking away.
He quit, which is an amazing story.
When you're talking about $5 million.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he was wealthy then.
He was wealthy then. He'd been doing it a long time. So that was the race that he finished his career on. And after that, you and Bruce.
Now, Charlene, his wife, and Marilyn became friends.
I see.
We went to a party. When they moved to Mossman, another friend of ours, Reg and Sally Richardson, said, "Would you come over? These people are just moving to Mossman. They're having drinks. Would you like to come over and meet them?" And then we.
So you didn't. So you had never discussed the race before with him.
No.
So when did you put the two and two together?
Oh,
when you were talking?
He knew who I was. But Charlene and Marilyn just clicked the day of the party.
Right, they became.
And then Bruce and I became friends. But it was a few months that Marilyn was going out with Charlene before I was really friendly with Bruce.
Okay, but that is so funny. What a connection, though.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's crazy. So, and after Maya Card, is that when you bought the horse stud farm?
Yes, Junee, the property. Yeah.
So you bought a property and then put a horse stud, which is when...
It was it was a sheep farm, then it was a farm, and I made it a cattle property.
Right, but so you took one of the horses, or did you take Maya Card? Maya Card was a stud horse?
No. I don't think we stood. I don't know.
What happened to Maya Card? Did it just die?
Sold it.
You sold it. Did it win more races after that?
No. We raced it. I didn't want to race it, and Chapman took it up to Queensland, the trainer, and I told him I didn't want to race it. And he raced on a bog track.
Oh.
He never raced again.
Oh, that's too bad.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway, you did buy this property, and you had a stud farm, which is where you have one male horse, and you made it Volcanic Prince, which you thought was a good racehorse.
No, he produced. Some of his horses were still running around about 5 years ago.
Right. So
he was a good stud.
how many horses do you think you sold out of that?
How many?
How many horses did you sell from that stud farm?
Oh God, ask me that. I mean, at one stage we had 53 horses.
So, have you got any idea how many racehorses you have owned?
No, never counted them.
Any idea?
No idea.
Over 1,000.
But I said I had 53 races on one stage. So.
Yeah, but plus that was way back in the 80s. And you've been buying horses ever since then. You must have owned over 1,000 horses. Do you realise that?
I wouldn't know. Wow. I know Sean, when he had the house, he had a whole wall in the house at Junee.
Yes.
His house.
With all the winners.
It was a wall full of winners.
Well, you know who has that wall now?
James.
And his law office. It gets a lot of attention. Yeah. And he only took because they take a photo of the winning horse and they give it to the owner of the horse that won the race. And Dad had a lot of winners, so James, in his love of gambling. He wanted those up on the wall of his office,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. But you had a lot of horses, and I think you told me today you still have one or two. You had them racing in Hong Kong, Macau,
England, Ireland, Scotland.
Oh man, yeah, it's been, and many horse. Who was your favourite horse trainer?
Who was my favourite horse trainer? Who did I have the most fun with? Well, I think when I was with Tommy Smith, I think that was an experience. That was.
Oh, I didn't know he trained some of your horses.
Oh yes.
Oh, great. That's nice.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family.
In the family, yes. He was in Gay, trained them. Tommy and Gay. Of course, Dr. Jeff Chapman, he trained Myakard.
How much, do you remember, what was the win for, oh, you didn't win that race. Yeah. So what was the biggest horse race that Myakard won? It was the Australia Cup?
No, it won the BMW, it won the Tancred, and it won the Ranford.
Yeah, and you got the cups.
That's three Group 1 races.
Yeah, yeah. And is there any other story from, I mean, I know there's a lot, but any that stand out to you from the racing days?
Not really. Running last twice in the Melbourne Cup,
Yeah,
something.
that's pretty good.
Not many people have got the.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you did qualify. You got your horses in, so
Yeah.
that's also really good. Yeah, and then what about jockeys? Any jockeys that stand out?
Well, the relationship I had in those days with a fellow called Mark de Montfort,
Ah, yes, that's right.
and that was a very close relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
And we had some really good wins.
yeah, and that's cool.
Yeah, really good wins.
Yeah,
And if Mark could say the horse is going to win,
yeah,
you safely put a bet on
yeah.
because they'd win.
Yeah,
He was a
yeah,
damn good jockey.
yeah. Is he still around?
Yes, he's
He's
still
a
around. He
trainer,
trains.
isn't he?
I don't see much of him. Mark and Carol. No, I don't see much of him. But, you grow apart, you know.
Yes,
You grow
yeah,
apart.
I'm sure. Well, they were good times. You loved it. Still
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Still put your little bets on.
Yes,
$2 bets now.
yeah.
And you did go into a little partnership with Tim there for a while, buying horses and selling them to Asia. That was recently, so that was
We raced very well at Macau.
that's fun. Okay, well, can you think of anything else you want to add to that?
Not particularly. Not particularly.
But horses everywhere, very fun. Okay.
I'll tell you one just before you go.
Yeah,
The fascination, and because remember that $5 million bet,
yeah,
the fascination was that we became such good friends.
I know.
Bruce McHugh.
Yeah,
And we'd go to the races, and I often used to say, I wonder does Kerry think we stitched him up on that bet?
oh my God, yeah, I wonder.
But I didn't know him at that time when the bet was made.
Right, yeah, that's just a classic story where the guy bets $5 million on a dad's horse against his own horse that's racing, and his horse ends up winning and dad's, so he lost all that money. And someone else made a lot, so anyway.
We got on, Kerry and I got on well.
Kerry Backer?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know you knew him.
because of racing.
Right.
And I remember when I stood for the AJC committee,
Oh, that's right.
and
Yes.
Kerry's wife was at the back of me coming down the escalators. She said, Kerry sent the message down. He's backing you all the way.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we were
You would have liked to have been on that
Yeah.
committee, but they're very political.
very
They
political.
did not want you on there.
Yeah.
No.
I got there, but I resigned.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you got there.
Yeah, I won. I won the election.
And then you just resigned on the spot?
Like me, it was a front page in the paper, and your mother said, you're out of there. I don't want you in racing.
Oh,
So I just resigned the next day.
And that
I was on for 48 hours sort of thing on the committee.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Like I said, good times, good memories. Okay, signing off.